Greetings everyone, Joseph James here, February 10th, 2009. This is your live trade and recap. Before we talk about the trades we took today, guys, had a pretty challenging day in the room today, of course. I want to remind you guys we had 3 important links. If you guys are watching this video on our YouTube page right now, in the description of the YouTube page, 3 links. First one is a recorded trade room sessions. Second, of course, is for our 12-month track record, and the third is to register for our free 3-week trial. So make sure you guys click on those links in the video description, guys, for more important resources. 4 total trades today, guys. 17 ticks, 170 USD. A very challenging day once again. We've had now all 3 days this week have been relatively challenging days here. That brings our 2010 totals, guys, over 13,000. We're still averaging over $700 a day, and we got over $4,000 in the month of February alone. We'll keep you guys posted as we move through the rest of our day. Now, guys, what was the most important thing that happened today? Well, in my opinion, most important thing was today reminded us to think like a money manager. Imagine for a second that I gave you all my money, and I got all my friends to give you all their money. So now you're managing hundreds of millions of dollars, right? You've got all of our hopes and dreams riding on your trading abilities. Now, if you have all of our accounts as a major money manager, you're probably going to act pretty conservatively, right? You're going to look ahead. What news is today? What news is tomorrow? What major announcements might be today or tomorrow? Now, what happened today was we had some news events this morning. Crude oil inventories at 10:30, but they were postponed to Friday because of the snowstorm. Now, tomorrow's a Thursday. We have jobless claims tomorrow, so we have a big news event coming out tomorrow. And then we had, what do we have today? Major announcement. Big Ben Bernanke, our Fed chairman, he was going to be strategizing or detailing to Congress today the testimony from yesterday, which was the exit strategy for the TARP fund. So basically telling us here in the U.S., right, how they're going to, of course, get this money back from the bailout package. A major announcement today. We had some news, but it was postponed till Friday, so there wasn't anything really to look for today. And we have news coming out tomorrow. So looking at it from the money manager standpoint, today may not be the best day to be trying to strategize with my money or your money. Of course, the big money, of course, is now going to probably be sitting on the sidelines. We knew this going into today. We hadn't even opened up our charts yet, and we knew this already. When we opened up our charts, though, then we began to see even more. We saw what? We saw flat trigger lines. We saw red pace of a tape, lack of big buyers and sellers, right? Very important information. So once we opened up our charts, all those trigger lines were exactly the same, and they were flat, all time frames. We didn't see very much speed. We had nothing but red pace of a tape. And remember those big buyers and sellers, right? Those major money managers, how they decided probably today wasn't the best day to be putting my money to work in the market? Well, they weren't here this morning, were they? In fact, when we looked at our trade patterns, we saw everything lining up except for those big buyers and big sellers, right? If you were with us this morning, we saw everything 99% of the way. But without that big money in the market, we really couldn't do very much with confidence. So guys, we learned a valuable lesson today. Think like a money manager. That will give you a heads up for the day ahead. But then once you open up your charts, that's going to usually give you some pretty good feedback, so make sure you pay attention to that as well. Now, of course, we took 4 trades today, guys. The first 3, as you can see, were basically losses or scratch trades. We had to be very careful this morning. Things were back and forth, up and down. And then we had a nice big winner to finish up the morning, which kind of made it all worthwhile. One of those days, though, where we're almost exhausted mentally because we saw a lot of price action. What we didn't see, though, was we didn't see those moves actually turn into actual qualifiable trade pattern. First trade today, guys, on gold. Right, here's our first trade, of course, is a breaker pattern short. First 2 trades on gold, second 2 trades on crude. Now, of course, this breaker pattern short, we can see right away, guys, we have short-term trend down. Now, with the short-term trend down, how do we know that? We're looking at the slope of my trigger line, right? So my slope here of this trigger line here, that's what tells me my short-term trend is down. Now, of course, with that, we, of course, have this low of day here. Once we break below that low of day, we make up our little swing low here, and then we break below that swing low. That's for our entry for our breaker pattern short. So once again, at the low of the day, we got to follow our rules, right? Got to follow my rules, of course, at the low of day, which means I've got to see green pace of a tape. Large sellers, right? Remember, guys, we didn't see many large sellers. So this was kind of one of those trades where we were trying to wait patiently for those big money traders into the market. Didn't see them very much today, and because of that, we kind of skipped a lot of patterns. This one, of course, though, at 10:02, we got, of course, below this, our swing low here, for our breaker pattern short. 70.3 was the fill. Of course, a scratch trade here, guys, moved our stop to entry. Now, what happens is when we get into a trade, if we realize that we may have made the wrong decision, we quickly then begin looking for, right, how to get out of that trade. So what happened was we, of course, identified the opportunity here. We marked up our swing low. We break below that swing low. But as you can see, right, this price action here was very, very choppy. So, of course, comes down, doesn't go very far. we don't see price moving very well, and we move our stop from 6 ticks up down to our point of entry to lock out all that risk. That way, if the trade begins to drop, we're going to still be in this trade, but if it reverses against us, we have no risk involved. So we saw a bunch of moves getting down here, but when we get into the trade, we didn't see much happening. So we count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Within 5 seconds, guys, I am looking for an exit strategy here, and we did just that. Move a stop to entry, lock out that risk, still keep us in the trade, of course. That way, if it does move with us, we can move with it. But in this case, you can see, guys, didn't get so lucky on a scratch trade here for the first trade of the day. Let's keep moving. Next up on gold, second trade on gold here. Now, this one, of course, a small loss, you can see. This is a two-step pattern. So on a two-step pattern, we have the short-term trend down. As you can see there, guys, short-term trend down. Now, I can tell the short-term trend based upon, you guessed it, right, my trigger line here. Right, so my trigger line pointing down here, short-term trend down, I mark up, of course, my swing high. My swing high, once I get that swing high broken, counter trend trade, back up above that swing high. At 34 minutes past the hour, guys, a two-step pattern long, that was a trend reversal. 65.6, of course, was our fill. Now, in this case, guys, we didn't get so lucky this time. So we immediately see, of course, let me clear this thing off for us here. We immediately see here that we have to be concerned about this very choppy price action, right? We have very choppy price action here once we get above that swing high. And you can see this candle right here, right? That candle right there actually got us into the trade based upon the big buyers jumping in, momentum pointing up. But then what happened was, it then, of course, just sat there again. Without those big money traders in the market, guys, you're going to see a lot of this, right? The big money is what kind of catapults this thing up. So we missed the big money, no big money sitting there anymore. By the time we were able to move our stop up from negative 6 ticks back, right, up to our point of entry here, we had already been taken out. 65.6 was our entry, stop at entry, and of course we got clipped there at -1. So 4 contracts, -1, that's going to equal negative 4 ticks, guys, or negative 40 USD. So we can see, of course, this lack of, right, these lack of big buyers here really hurting us right now, because once we get into a trade, we of course are seeing very quickly, of course, that this price is not going very quick anywhere else. So it's like being on a bus not going anywhere, right? If you get on a bus and that bus goes nowhere, guys, I'm not going to go off that bus and find a new bus to take. Same thing here. Okay, so without the big money in the market, those first 2 trades didn't get going anywhere fast, and of course we had to get out of the trade as soon as possible. Now on crude, last 2 trades today on crude here, guys. Last 2 trades on crude, we've got a short-term trend up, right? Short-term trend up. Now in this case, a 2-step, so a counter trend trade here. You'll notice we've got overhead resistance here, guys, right? Overhead resistance up top here, 73.15. We mark up our swing low. Once we break below that swing low, there's your 2-step pattern short. And of course, as soon as we see this, you can see right away, guys, no follow through. Right now, normally what will happen is we'll see this thing really jump to the downside here. Right? Normally what we'll see this thing just kind of head to the downside and collapse on us. But today we didn't see that happen. No big money in the market, no follow through. So of course, again, short-term trend being up, slope of the trigger line pointing up. We bounce off overhead resistance. We make up our swing low here. We bounce below that swing low. Again, another small scratch trade here. Momentum curled and pointed back up. No big sellers in the tape to finish this thing off. Move our stop down to entry for another scratch. So another trade, guys, at 73 even. Where nothing in, nothing out. Let's keep moving. Now, finally here, at this point, guys, we were starting to get a little bit concerned, right? We're starting to think maybe we may not see very much happening today. In fact, at this point, we were down by a couple ticks here, so we wanted to make sure we made this money back. Finally, we got a chance to do so, guys. Here at 10:56, just before 11 o'clock, short-term trend is down. You can tell that by looking at my slope, my trigger line here. Again, going with the trend, we mark up our swing low. We break below that swing low, of course. 85 was the fill. We got +4, +8, +5 for 21 ticks or 210 USD. So as you can see here, guys, we had to be patient. We took 3 initial trades, and after the first 3 trades, we were basically kind of pulling our hair out because we didn't really know what was going on. No big money in the market. Almost ready to give up on the day. But then, of course, our patience always pays well. We wait for the green pace of the tape. We wait for large sellers. We follow our rules. And, of course, just before we finish up our day here, guys, at 10:56 on the crude, we put 210 USD in our back pocket. So let's recap, guys. We got 4 total trades, guys. 4 trades, 17 ticks in. Let's prep for tomorrow. Thursday, February 11th. Let's see. Tomorrow, important day tomorrow. 8:30 jobless claims. 10 o'clock business inventories, 10:30 nat gas. We got some important news events tomorrow, so you'll want to be here tomorrow, guys, for that 8:30 jobs claims number. We will see some good volume, guys, for that. And let's recap. Trade room opens tomorrow morning, guys, 7:45 Eastern Time. We'll do free webinars on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So tomorrow's another free webinar day. Make sure you guys are up here for that. The beginner's course shows you guys all of our setups and our patterns. And guys, remember, if you want more information about lifetime membership, drop us an email, sales@schooloftrade.com. My name is Joseph James. Hope the video helps. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow, 7:45. Don't miss a tick. Bye-bye for now.